cryptocurrency thing,
Yeah.
what we're talking about there is that it is moving people to become sovereign, decentralized, responsible for their own life, not being governed by a criminal organization.
It's called cartels. Okay.
Cartel.
Yeah. They have really good marketing. They
Yeah.
have really good marketing. They're amazing at PR. All these cartels, phenomenal PR agencies.
So I think we're all in agreement that moving in that direction is a good idea, but there seems to be so much, like you said before, so many, fakes and so much fluff. And how do you how can people differentiate between what's real and not real, or does it not matter? Do we just need to keep moving in that direction?
Fluff and FUD. FUD is fear, uncertainty, and doubt for those of you who are not in the crypto space. I see the incredible potential of it. Do I think it's going to be the end all, solve all? No, it's like I said, the culture needs to change on all levels. Because our value systems are going to change because of how the world is changing. For me personally, investing in land, food, water systems, and investing in each other, investing in each other's gifts, and how we can create impact on culture on the planet collectively is where we should invest and vote with our energy, our time, our attention, our money.
Yeah.
Our team, as my friend Ali likes to say, time, energy, attention, money. And so, cryptocurrency and DeFi it's the tip of the iceberg of a new renaissance. NFTs, what I love about NFTs is it's bridging the DeFi, the tech, and the art into
Just explain
one space.
NFTs for somebody who might be a newbie.
Non-fungible token it's an evolved version of a smart contract that gives value to something. It's essentially
So basically, you can buy a piece of artwork, or you can buy a song, or you can buy
that can
anything.
endlessly appreciate on the market, on the
and
blockchain.
then that's yours. You own that.
Yep.
Then it's verified through the blockchain technology.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's a way of it's kind of like I'm looking at like this concept of like artifacts. When something has been given the mythos of an artifact, it gains all this value. You're like, oh, it's the blah 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 from Queen blah blah blah, and it's worth millions of dollars because it has this like weird cultural nuance. But that's happening in modern time where like this thing can emerge and all of a sudden it's worth $1.5 million, and then it appreciates over the next 10 years, and all of a sudden it becomes worth $10 million because there's this cultural phenomenon. But what needs to happen is we need to drive the value metrics of the culture. We're right at that juncture point where we can actually bring this sort of consciousness expanding, spiritually informed culture into the blockchain space, into the NFT space, into all these different realms of society, knowing that if we stay in society in the way that it's functioned, the normal way, we're going into a almost totalitarian, tyrannical version of codependency.
Yeah.
And we all know what every single person out there has experienced some version of toxic codependency, and the hell on earth version of what that is. And this is what we're in right now. So we have to break our codependent patterns in order to create the civilization upgrade that we want to experience.
Yeah.
We have to examine codependency. So when you ask, what are the technologies? Coherence building, vulnerability, authenticity, creating trust with other human beings to the point where you can be all of yourself. And you can create such a trust field that your ability to scale and sense make and work together on things goes to exponential level. And then everyone living in their highest excitement of what theirs is actually to do, what's theirs to actually do together, becomes self-evident.
Yeah.
It becomes self-evident. And then we start to shape culture in a new way collectively. I watched my country get split into different camps over the span of months. And the pandemic was just the tip of the iceberg. That put everyone into the trauma state to then find something to grasp onto. And so lately, what I've been feeling lately is, how do we bridge the divide of worldviews that are so seemingly like there's so much perceived harm on both sides?
Yeah.
And how do we actually come into regard for people's decisions?
Rather than debating about what's right or wrong, everybody's right and everybody's wrong, and how do we bridge those things?
Yeah. So if we come to some of those universal traditions and the orientations of how we can unpack or counsel or sense make around the state of our world or perception, knowing that we all hold reality different. The Toltec talk about that we're all in our own dream, but we have this intersecting dream, right? We do impact each other. There's a shared reality here that we can come to some agreements on, but there's also nuance within the level of consciousness, right? And our own individual dream, where that intersects with the collective dream. And the piece that is a teaching that I receive, and I talk about this a lot with, when I'm consulting, when there's team dynamics, because a lot of time team dynamics, you have people bring their invisible, unresolved stuff into and so this idea that truth lives in the middle of the circle.
Yeah.
And the truth is a totem pole. And you might see a bear, I might see a dolphin, Putri might see an eagle. Instead of being like, you're wrong, it's not a bear, you blah, 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 it's a dog. It's like, tell me why you see that. Why do you see that? I want to understand how you think and feel. So there's actually a space for empathy, because when we lose the empathy, we're no longer connected to the other. The shadow projection creates wrong or bad. It becomes a threat, and then everyone's just being divided and conquered, essentially. Yeah. And so this idea of the totem pole is in the center of the room. We have to be invited in to be able to hold multiple perspectives, which is actually an evolutionary stage in development and consciousness, when you can hold multiple perspectives. Oligarchies have been distracting away from them and making the peasants fight each other for
it's been happening for thousands of years.
Yeah, and there's actually a continuity of wealth that can be traced back to these eras too, that are in continuity. And I can go really, really multidimensional and into a consciousness lens around this stuff, and I can also go very 3D. Very, very practical, grounded, just relational. And so I tend to, depending on who's listening or who's relating,
that's the thing about this conversation is that I think that there are people like you and I who have, and the audience who have their feet in both worlds. In both worlds. And they are interested in different perspectives.
Sure.
And how do we bridge this? Like, how do we talk about this from an esoteric, spiritual perspective, but then bring it to the 3D world?
Yeah. So a spiritual perspective to bring in around what's happening, coming back to the word initiation. Initiation is a massive pattern interruption, where something beyond your control interrupts how you're normally living to get you to get in touch with something so that you can expand in the direction or not contract, right? And so I think that this idea that we're in a collective initiation, again, is all the unresolved stuff over time is all here. There's echoes from so many times right now. There's echoes from the plague and the Renaissance that came after the plague. There's echoes of World War II, and we're seeing actually the stages of genocide, from classification to dehumanization. Like, that's actually playing out.
I think that just the methods have gotten smarter, and they're now using generational tactics as opposed to, at least Hitler was honest and said, hey, you group of people, we don't like you, we're going to kill you.
Yeah, this is more subliminal.
At least you knew what was what.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now it's, like you say, it's subliminal. It's under the table.
Yep. NLP through repetitive affirmation.
Yeah.
When people hear something enough times in a row and they're in a trauma response, meaning they're not fully in their body, so their intuition's a little more wobbly, and they're in fear.
But nobody likes to think they've been brainwashed. Nobody.
No, yeah, that's really, I think Mark Twain said it, it's easier to fool someone than to convince someone that they've been fooled.
Yeah.
Yeah.